live, Sammy.
Hey
Welcome
guys,
back.
hey guys,
I mean, it looks good, actually.
we're back again, and we're up with all our new merch. This is my new T-shirt we just got in, and we sold out. We got new T-shirts back in, so you guys who ordered, pretty soon they'll be on their way, and everything is going good all the way around, and. So we'll get started on Q&A and stuff like that. And
Let's see the shirts, Sammy. Go ahead and
you want to see
sit
all
up
this,
a little bit and show
the
the
new
viewers.
shirts?
Yeah.
Let me show you the shirts. This black one is nice with, let me see, me and Donald Trump. It's really nice material, good material, really great shirts.
Those ones sold out the first week. We just got them restocked.
These sold out the first week? Mm-hmm. These sold out the first week. She said we just got another batch of them. And this one, Bull 19. Mm-hmm. Now this has nothing to do with, the murders or anything that I'm involved in. A few of you talked about that. That's not really what it was a code name. It happens to be the same number, but that's not why it's on there. So I wanted to clear that up a little bit.
Totally.
I don't want people to think that that's what it was. That's not what it was.
Can you show them your shirt you have on now? Like pull it down a little bit. We just want to see. There it is.
Here it is. You see it?
So great. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. This one here is nice. It's very colorful, and it has the whole flag thing and everything.
Sammy, I see a lot of chats coming in asking about Dominic Montiglio. If you want to tell the viewers, you just wrapped a great interview with Ross Bradar, and all that Dominic Montiglio and the Roy DeMeo stuff is going to come out soon.
Yes, we just did a video and explained. We just did a video. Here, Mina, take this. We just did a video about Dominic. I was friendly with him. I was very friendly with his uncle. He was a go-between between Roy DeMeo and his uncle. He was a tough guy. He was in the military. He stayed with this guy, Ross, for about 3 years. He was homeless. And he did some artwork. He left it to Ross, and he left a lot of stories. So I did an interview with him, and I might even do a show, about him and stuff like that, with some of the people I'm working with in Hollywood. And so,
It was a great interview.
it was a great interview.
Good stuff
It's
coming out.
being edited now. It's going to come out. It was, how long was it? I think that was almost 2 hours.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm not sure if we're going to let out the whole thing or two-parter. I'm not sure. But we'll see once it's edited. And really, really a great story. He was a good guy. He was a tough guy. He was his nephew. He was a go-between between Roy DeMeo and Nino. And then he got in trouble. And eventually his uncle, he thought his uncle was going to kill him. I'm not sure about that. But and he wound up flipping. And he wound up becoming homeless. Bumped into this guy, Ross, who put him up probably for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. It wound up being 3 years. The guy, Ross, is a good guy to take care of somebody like that all that time, especially knowing he had a contract on him, and he didn't care. He took care of him. And the interview was great. You're going to love this interview. I mean, I enjoyed this guy. He's a pretty decent guy, good guy.
Yeah. How was your St. Patrick's Day?
My St. Patrick's Day, I did a little gig with, what's her name again? Sterling did an interview. She made me do all that green stuff and joking around and stuff like that. And we put it out on Instagram. We thought we were going to get, some views and some laughs. This morning it was at 51,000 and change.
It's at 53 already.
53. Yeah, unbelievable. 53,000 views on it, and it really went over good. My son read mostly all the comments. The comments were great. Some of the people I'm dealing with in Hollywood called up, said, "Sammy, that's," they were loving it. They were laughing their ass off. So it
What
went.
happened to your little friend?
Huh?
What happened to your little friend?
Yeah, we had to flush him down the bowl.
We do want to raise, though. I
Yeah,
saw that
we do
gold.
wanna
you
Now
got.
that you
raise,
found
yeah,
the gold,
I
you
saw
want
that.
to raise?
Dinner's on you.
Dinner's on me, bro. So it was good. Lily loved it. Lily had fun. She got wrapped up in that green that paper,
yeah.
and she was fighting to get out of it.
Are you ready? You ready for questions from last week?
Yes.
Yay, let's jump into that real quick. First, let's give a couple of shout outs. Sammy, Captain 776, who is Bruce from Thailand. He was tuning in. We didn't give him a shout out. Casey's Fun and Fashionable. Nice envelope for you.
Thank you so much.
Drew, I don't know how to pronounce the last name. I'm just going to say C. Said, "Happy birthday, Sammy. Hello from Southport, North Carolina. My family is also Sicilian. Keep being awesome. Keep telling your story, and salute."
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Also, JN asks, or first says, "Happy birthday, Sammy. I would love to sit down with you sometime. Is there an email I can send my inquiry to?" Guys, anybody who wants to submit an inquiry or virtual sit down, first of all, you guys can go to Our Thing TV and get the virtual sit down there. They're still on sale. Good price for you guys. But you can also send an email to support@sammythebull.com and ask any question or any inquiry that you may have, and we'll get back to you.
Yes, we will.
Mets fan says, "Isn't it a shame what happened to Little Italy? What is it, 2 to 3 blocks now? I mean, Chinatown has taken over."
You know, it happened a long, long time ago when I was on the street. Chinese came in and they were buying up things. If a building was worth $1,200,000, let's say, they would offer them $1,800,000. So people were selling to them. Then there was a committee and said to the people, "Stop selling, because before you know it, it won't be Little Italy no more. It'll be Chinatown. Chinatown is right next to it." So that went on, and I guess it went on. When you're offering somebody twice what the building is worth, I mean, it's hard to say no. And they bought up a lot. It is like Chinatown. You know, where I had my place in Brooklyn, New York, Bensonhurst Tallies, it's now a Chinese restaurant, from what I understand. You know, they're coming in with money and they're buying things, and I don't know if that could stop. You know, when people are offered more than it's worth, I don't blame them for selling. So, I mean, that's part of it, yes. It's a shame because Little Italy was something that was created for the Italian people, and Italian people own it. They shouldn't sell it that easy. But I do understand when it's, you know, the money's that big of a difference. You know, they try to put together an association. In other words, you got to sell it to the association. And then the association wouldn't sell it unless you were an Italian. Just to keep that it's Little Italy. Not to be racist or nothing, but that didn't work either. So I guess it's, yeah. It'll be Chinatown one day, the whole thing. And it's a shame that, because it was good for the people, tourists, everybody loved it. So
Yeah.
it is
I know
what
they
it
have
is.
they have a Little Italy in San Francisco too.
I went to it.
Yeah.
When I went to San Francisco years ago, I went to that area, and it was nice too. It was like a Little Italy type
Yeah.
of place. They had churches in the area, and really nice. I walked around the whole place. And so be it, right next to it was a Chinatown too.
Yes, it was. Yep, it
Yeah.
still is.
Yeah, same exact situation.
Okay. Stephen Billington says, "Love you, Sammy. Quick question. Do you think current mafia members will be as prolific in the future as you, considering the change in landscape?"
What do you mean by prolific?
Meaning as big, as grand, as memorable in history.
I think it'll always be, part of history. I don't think you can get rid of that. There's a lot of things you just can't get rid of. And of course, people don't want to get rid of it. Anything that's a good thing will last in history. The same exact way as it was years ago, no, it won't last. The same as it is now, I think it'll get worse. It'll start to disappear. That guy was right. And change is something that's almost impossible to stop. Change just happens.
Okay. I have last two questions. They're from the same person. Ryan Whitney wants to know, hey, Sammy, I have a question regarding your business affairs after your arrest with John. You mentioned being involved in the construction industry, and I'm curious what transpired with your legitimate businesses following the incident. Were the assets seized by the government, or did you have a partner who continued operations? And then essentially, what was the fate of your business post-arrest?
Well, my biggest business was with a guy named Joe Madonia Carpentry Company. We had 200 carpenters. Before I got pinched, before I went into prison, I became the underboss. I came into, he had an established business. I came into it. We doubled or tripled the size of it. And when I became the underboss, I said, Joe, I can't work or help you with this anymore. I appreciate you letting me in. The business is yours. I'm giving it back to you entirely. You can give me a Christmas present every year. If I get you work, give me a little envelope. But other than that, it's yours. And if anybody bothers you, you can call me and So I gave that up before the pinch happened. The other things, my brother-in-law took it over, the mob took it over to take over what I was doing and everything like that. They took my Shylock book too after I cooperated and left. It didn't matter to me. I left with, I think almost $3.5 million in cash, and I had real estate. I was able to sell the real estate. So the mob took it over. Some of it went under. It wasn't the same. Some of the people who worked for me didn't want to work for them and left. So some of them survived, some of it didn't. That's what happened to it. It disappears once you cooperate or something like that. Not just because you went in prison, but once I cooperated, I lost all of it.
Okay. Same question. Let's see. Same. Ryan Whitney also asks, I'm an avid powerboat captain and yacht owner, and a particular story you touched on in your podcast had me intrigued. You mentioned at one point that you had to go on the lam for a little bit down in Florida. You mentioned the owner of Apache Boats. There were a couple of owners and partners in that company, but one particularly wily character named Ben Kramer, who was involved in drug smuggling and even attempted to escape from prison by helicopter, later died in prison. If that was the guy you were with down there, can you tell us a little more about him and what your experience was with him?
No, when I went down there, there was two companies, Apache Boats. One was this guy's, because I don't know him, and I understand he got arrested eventually. That was a big, they did yachts and stuff like that. The one I was there was the guy who used to drive me, Louis Sasanti. It was his brother. His last name was Sasanti. And they had speedboats. He made speedboats. He didn't make yachts and stuff like that. He made speedboats. And he went in races and stuff like that. So when I went down there, his brother got us an apartment. I stayed in the apartment. And I went and see him. We went to dinner. We went out one night. And so long story short, it's not the same guy.
Okay. Perfect. And then last question. James wants to know if the mafia still exists.
It does. It's nothing like it used to be. It still does. I'm in touch with a lot of people, friends of mine. A lot of people, I can't bring up their names, but I still talk with a lot of them. I got family and friends there. It's definitely not the same. It's a whole different thing. and they don't do killings. They don't do a lot of things. It's definitely a different thing. It's almost like the Gowanus Club or something. I mean, it's a little different, and I'm not trying to put them down, but it's totally different, and it has really fell apart quite a bit, and it's nothing like it was. When in my days and before me, it was like the Wild West. I mean, bodies all over the place. It was crazy. It's not like that anymore. So, and even the FBI says that they monitor them very closely. They got a lot of confidential informants. Today, there's all kinds of cameras. Everybody's got a phone, has got a camera. They can't do shit no more. They do different kinds of things. They open places. They make money trying to get into construction a little bit. They don't control the unions anymore. I don't even think they control the Fulton Fish Market anymore. They used to control all of those things. Garbage, the Diamond Center, the stock market, the clothing areas. They're out of all of those areas. The government pushed them out of everything. So it's a totally different ball game. They lost their power. And it's more like a club than a mafia thing.
Okay.
I mean, and I don't think they're even allowed to kill. So, I mean, they could rough you up if they wanted to, I guess. But I don't think they do much of that anymore.
Perfect. There you go. Thank you. All right, over to Anna.
Hey, Sammy, just to piggyback on what you just said, Gas Can Lip in the super chat. Sammy, as much as we love Gene, if Gene Borello was around in the 70s and 80s while acting like the headless horseman being crazy, do you think you would have to whack Gene, or what would happen to him?
Yeah, he admitted it. I did an interview with him, and he admitted it himself. You could never get away with the things he did. In my day, you could never get away with that. You couldn't disrespect. You couldn't rob games that they had, clubs and games, pistol whip somebody. You could, but he admitted it himself. He knew it. Matter of fact, he told me, he says, Sammy, back in the day when you were around, I would have got hit right away. No matter who you are, who you were related to, there's a limit to what they would put up with you. So, yeah, it was totally different. And like I said, he said it himself.
Mm-hmm. That's an exclusive interview that just came out not too long ago on your channel.
Right.
Great
and you could
interview.
hear him telling me, he knew, he told me, if you were around, would this happen? No, you would have never got away with those kind of things. Yeah. You know, we protected our neighborhood, we protected our things. If you disrespected us, in a way, and that's robbing us or not giving a shit, you would get hit. You would get whacked.
Mm-hmm. And it was a great interview. You guys discussed, even coming from him, exactly what you just said about what it's like now. He had some great insight on that. So did Anthony, you know?
Yeah. They
interview.
know. Anybody you talk to, Michael Franchise, anybody you talk to or hear, it's a totally different world. Even some of the other people who talk Howdy Doody and what's his name there?
Yeah.
The
Barrel
other-
of Monkeys.
Huh?
The Barrel of Monkeys.
Yeah, the Barrel of Monkeys. But those people even talk about it. It's definitely not the same.
Yeah. Well, Speed Racer in the super chat. Hey, Sammy, if a regular citizen unknowingly beat up a maid guy during some random encounter like a bar fight, would there be any retaliation against the citizen?
No, if it was just a regular bar fight, a bullshit thing, and he didn't know, I'll give you an example. Before I was made, we were in a bar, and my friend Louis Tropia was getting jumped by a couple of guys. I was talking to some girls, and I turned, I saw him, and I went straight for somebody, and I grabbed him by the shoulder, and I threw a punch as I was turning. I hit him. It was a guy named Mimi, who was a captain in the Colombo family, an extremely dangerous guy. I thought for sure I was going to get killed. I wound up sitting down with him, and he said, you hit pretty hard. He said, and did you know it was me? I said, no, I just saw Louis Tropia, my friend, getting jumped. There was 4 or 5 guys. I saw you throwing a punch. I grabbed you by the shoulder, pulled you. I said, when I actually hit you, I realized that it was you, I was terrified. But it happened. I can't take it back. He says that's manly enough, he says. So you didn't necessarily, I had arguments and fights that I didn't kill people because, I mean, if you overdid the fight and you really try to hurt me intentionally, or if you knew and you just didn't give a shit, I would come after you. And I think when I say that, I don't mean just me. I think most guys felt that way. Some guys, like a Roy DeMeo or somebody, you hit him, he don't give a fuck who you are, how innocent you are, he'd come after you. Mm-hmm. But I didn't feel that way, it was just a fight. Mm-hmm. But if you overdid it, if you stomp me and do all kinds of shit, you know, that's a whole nother story. That's exactly what happened when I had an after-hour club with some guy and a bunch of bikers, and that young kid wound up getting shot. Mm-hmm. And so it all depends on the circumstance. If me and you have a fight in a place and you happen to be stronger and tougher than me, I mean, it didn't mean anything. You won the fight, you didn't stomp on me, you didn't try to super hurt me for a bullshit fight. It was a fight. Yeah. You know, we're used to that in the street. It happens, shit happens. Sometimes you win, sometimes, but you know, it depends on what the person does and what it was all about.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Thank you, Sammy. Steve Jackson, when would you say that you saw Paul the angriest? When the commission told him that he had to kill Johnny Keys because his guys were seen around him, or the time Eddie pulled up in a Rolls Royce?
No, I really think Eddie pulled up in a Rolls Royce, Eddie Garofalo. He was super mad at that. He took it as a disrespectful thing. You owe money, you're not paying him, you give him some sob story and you pull up in a fucking Mercedes-Benz. It's like a slap in the face. I even told Eddie, you should have went in a fucking piece of shit car. Why would you do that? But not that one. The one with Johnny Keys, he was really, really pissed off about that. It was a hit that couldn't be done by 5 families and the other half of the Philadelphia mob. Johnny Keys seemed like he was winning and he was untouchable. They tried everything, all kinds of guys, couldn't kill him. Mm-hmm. And 2 guys bunked into him in a restaurant and they blamed Paul for backing him on the sneak. He denied it, which is true. He didn't know nothing about it. And they said, well, if your guys can meet with him, then you have the contract. And he hated that. He didn't want it. Yeah. He was, I mean, the veins in his neck were sticking out. I've seen them a couple of times. I made them stick out a couple of times myself, but not like this. This one here, it really bothered him because he would have had to put people, and he put me on it. And he really wasn't happy about it. And that was the only time when he asked me, do you need money? Do you need guns? Do you need shooters? I was dumbfounded because I was a pup back then. And I had said, no, I got a crew. I'll take care of this. I don't need anything. I just need somebody. I don't know the guy. I never saw the guy. I know that there's a war going on. I heard about it. But I don't know the area. I don't know nothing about him. And he put Nicky Russo and Pal Joey on the hit, put me in charge of it. And it really was a mission impossible. It was a really, really hard thing to do. I told the story on my podcast. We're talking about doing a movie about it. That particular hit, just a movie itself on that. And then I'm doing a scripted show, and there'll probably be flashbacks or something on it. I'm not sure how they'll work it, but it was a hell of a hit. It's a hell of a story, and I got to really respect him. And you could hear that podcast, I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. So. You know, speaking of Johnny Keys, Emily Silver at rthing.tv submitted a message to you, Sammy, and wanted to know, did you take the shoes off? Did you leave them on? What became of Johnny Keys' shoes?
I took the shoes off him like he requested. I got rid of the shoes. And I did everything that he asked me to do for him. I know it sounds crazy, but I respected him so much. That story with his shoes, I lost my lighter, I think. Fuck did I do with it? But anyway, when he asked me to take off his shoes, and I asked him, I said, why? And he said, my wife isn't stupid. She knows there's a war. She knows Angelo Bruno was killed. He was his cousin. He was a powerful captain. And to calm her down, he said, don't worry about it. I won't die with my shoes on. I will have my shoes off.
Yeah.
Meaning, I'll be home. Thank you. I'll be home. I mean, when he told me the story and that he was actually sending a message to his wife that minutes or hours before his death, he was thinking of her. It blew me away when he told me that. It really, really did. And he was a tough guy. And when I talked to Paul, I said, Paul, when he said, it went great, and he asked me what was the matter, I said, listen, Paul, I feel dirty. I killed last night the epitome of our life. And I think he should have been the boss. He should have won the war.
Yeah.
He taught me Cosa Nostra like I've never understood it. He taught me how to die like a man. He taught me a lot of things. And I told Paul I fell in love with him last night. And he looked at me and said, what did you just say? I says, I fell in love with him. I have so much respect for him. I'm heartbroken that I had to be the person to kill him. So it's going to be a movie by itself. People love it. And, oh, here it is. I'm sitting on it. All right. So anyway, that's what's coming out in the near future. I'm working on those two projects, a scripted show and the Johnny Keys hit. And we'll see what happens.
That's what's so powerful about the Johnny Keys story is that there's relationships and intimacy on so many different levels, and now we have women writing in about that moment because it's like they don't make them like they used to, Sammy. I mean, can't even get a text
listen,
back.
And I'm giving him, I hope this gives him a legacy. I hope this hits his family and grandsons or whoever's alive in his family and know what a tough, good man he was. In his heart. He was a tough guy. He had 50 hits under his belt. I mean, he was a killer. Yeah. But he was a good man and died like a man. You know, Nick Pileggi told me while he heard the story, Nick Pileggi said, Sammy, I had company over my house while I was listening to it. When they left, I went in the room, made a cup of coffee, and I just had to listen to it again. A week later, Sammy, I had to pick it up and look at it again. Nick Pileggi is one of the greatest writers of mob stories.
Amen.
And he said, this story's got to be told. Do you know what you and him were? And I said, two gangsters. He said, no. You were two samurais. He knew he lost to you. And all he wanted to do was die with honor. That's what a samurai does. They're more vicious than you guys. But they want to die with honor. Whether they bend and you chop their head off or they kill themselves, they want to die with honor. That's what he wanted. And you gave it to him. You were both samurais. There's never been a mafia movie made like this, and I got to be part of it. And I love Nick too. I think the world of him. We became very, very close. I'm 79, he's 91. We talk to each other on occasion. And he's dying to do this because he said, people who see this movie, there's never been a mafia movie like this ever in the history of this country. And they'll understand exactly what went through your brain and his brain. And you don't hear that. Usually they're shooting and girls and drinking and this is two hardcore mafiosos who became summarized that night. So, I mean, so he's involved in making that movie,
Yeah.
and it's going to be great. I think it'll be great.
What are the odds of 4 kids from Brooklyn growing up to conquer these insane mafia stories
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
industry?
And Nick Pileggi grew up in the same neighborhood as I came from. I mean, he was older than me, went to college, he became a writer. He didn't become but he knew the neighborhood. So when you talk about the neighborhood, he grew up in it too and remembers certain places that I talk about. The famous diner on 86th Street, all night diner. And he says, I went there a ton of times. What's the odds that we come out of the same neighborhood? And his father and mother owned a coat factory. And we found out that his father and mother knew my mother.
Mm-hmm.
She had a dress factory, and she went in and helped him at one point.
Yeah.
And he told me, she said, I'm positive it was your mother and father's factory that helped my mother and father. What a small world in a way,
Yeah.
you know, for that to happen. And we just celebrated his birthday in February.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to California, he was there at meetings, stuff. Really a great guy, hell of a guy. 91 years old, sharp as a tack. I hope I could be as sharp as he is if I hit that age.
It's the
I got a
dream.
long ways to go. And he, the best is, Anna, you can prove this.
Yeah.
When he calls me a kid, he says, "That kid is great."
It's like,
I
listen
said, "What
to this kid.
Me? I'm the kid." But
like,
to
hey,
him, I'm
Squirt.
the kid, so I get it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I'll jump back at these super chats. Sorry, we always get distracted because Sammy's life is on another level.
Yeah, it goes crazy.
J. Marie, Sammy, in the mob, when does a light envelope become a problem? Because everyone has to earn. And then the folks that were helped out with unions or protection, does that stuff get addressed quickly? Sounds like 2 questions there, sorry.
Yeah, that's my man, Jay Marie. He could ask 4 questions. But, Jay Marie, there's no such thing as a light envelope. You know what it is? It's what you're able to put together. It's, in other words, if you're not earning good and your envelope is light, it's the thought of you're doing the right thing. If you're doing well, you're making a ton of money and you send a light envelope, they'll say, what is this guy, greedy? So the light envelope is just, it's a problem for a guy who's greedy. He's keeping a little too much for himself and not taking care of who he's supposed to. They'll look at it that way. But other than that, if you have a little poker game and you're cutting and you don't make big money, so you send $1,000 or whatever you send, $500, whatever it may be, they know that. They know that you're a brokester, you don't have a lot of money, you're doing small things to survive. They're not disturbed over it. They'll love you the same. But it's the only way you could have a problem with an envelope is if you gave real short money, $1,000, $2,000, and you made 50.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at least give 10%, give 5,000 on the 50, and keep 45. That's reasonable. But if you're going to send 1,000, then they're going to say this guy's really, really greedy, bro. And if you're a really greedy person, there's a lot of other things that you're going to be, too. Mm-hmm. How could we trust him? Or how could we, things like that. So a light envelope don't mean anything.
Let's see. Gas Can Lit back in the super chat. Sammy Maikumbara, any Arizona venomous snakes, javelinas, or scorpion stories where you had to whack them like you were St. Patrick?
No. One day we were driving back a while ago, Anna and a few people in the car, and the Gumbalinas were out there, and there was a whole family of them. There was the daddies, the mommies, the whole bunch of the small ones,
Mm-hmm.
remember?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of them. Now, they're very strong. They do bite, and they'll attack as a group. So you have to be a little careful. They're not so funny. You got to be a little careful with them. Snakes. When I was in prison in Arizona, we saw snakes come through because the prison was way out in the desert. So we saw snakes come through the yard. And,
Oh my
you know,
God. Like
yeah, not
rattlesnakes?
that much, but a little bit here and there, scorpions and stuff like that. We would kill them. One guy would try to keep them and hide them in his cell. I forgot his name, a real wacko. But in the city, there's too much traffic. It's too populated. You're very rare would you see a snake. You'll see the Goombalinas, and
Describe to your viewers what a Goombalina is.
Goombalina is it's a pig could be a pig, a wild boar. They're like in the middle somewhere. They're big, they're strong. They don't have the tusks, but they have teeth, and they'll chew up your dog. Like
yeah.
Lily, if she sees the things she wants to attack, she's gonna make a mistake if she ever does that. But I keep her away from them. They are dangerous. They've known to bite people, and bite them good, especially if you get a couple of them biting you. There's
they'll
a
take it
couple
to
of
the
people
bone.
in Arizona went to the hospital with those things.
Yeah.
And if you got a small dog, they'll eat that thing up. I don't even think a big dog could take them on if there's a pack of them, because they do stick together. Especially when they're with the little babies, the small ones, the mother is very, very aggressive towards protecting them. And once the mother gets involved, dad comes flying over. They all come flying over. So you got a problem with them. And usually, sometimes you'll see a whole pack of them.
Oh yeah.
That asshole who came here and got my son slapped him.
Oh yeah.
He saw them. He was making fun that they was having sex.
Oh
Right?
God, that guy's disgusting.
He said, "Look down there
Yeah.
having sex." He enjoyed that
Of
stupid
course. Who knows what he did?
shit. Yeah.
Giovanni in the super chat. When Angelo Bruno's consigliere killed him, what could he have done differently to not get killed himself? Do you see any similarities between the two families falling out after killing a boss?
Well, there is similarities. Frankie DeChico was killed 4 months after we killed Paul. Bobby Roriello was killed. Eddie Lino was killed. I came close one time. I was supposed to go to a restaurant in Coney Island, Gargiulio's. There was a hit team waiting. And the only reason I didn't go to the restaurant is that particular day, there was 3 or 4 FBI cars watching me. Usually it was one. That day, there was 3 or 4 of them. I thought I was going to get pinched. I sent somebody, me and Big Louie were going to go. We probably both would have got whacked. But I sent somebody with the money, made my apologies, I can't go. FBI is up my ass. I didn't want to bring them to the meeting. That's the only thing that saved me, potluck. So I would have got whacked too. You know, a crazy thing is that there was a woman around Chin, she heard it. Chin was talking and says, Sammy's a good guy, he's a tough guy. I don't think we have to kill him. I think we can negotiate with him when they were going to kill John and whatever. And then he changed his mind. He said, he's loyal. When we kill John, he'll say, okay, it's what's got to be is got to be. And then he'll retaliate. He will. He'll bullshit us and he'll retaliate. So we got to take him out. And so he had changed his mind, but I missed that hit. And it was the Lucchese people who were there. And that's who was behind the Frankie DeChico hit, was the Lucchese people. And so sometimes it's the way the chips fall.
Damn, I can't imagine, because it's like you'd have not having hard feelings, and then having to do business with them maybe later down the road.
Yeah, well, I didn't find all of that out until later on when I got pinched. Matter of fact, when I was in a unit,
Yeah.
after I cooperated, I was in a unit, and there was a guy with the Lucchese family who cooperated. He came walking in, and he had his head down, and he came over, and he said, Sammy, could I sit with you? Yeah, sure. I said, listen, I did the same thing as you. You could pick your fucking head up. And then he's the guy who told me about the hit in Gargiulio's. He said, I was there that day. I know you. I wanted to say something, but I was with them. I couldn't say nothing. Listen, I get it. You on that side. You got to take orders. I get it. I'm not mad at you, bro. I'm really not mad at you. You did what you were supposed to do. But just tell me who said what after I flipped. And he told me about the whole hit. And then he was telling me about people who said negative shit. People who just, you couldn't talk negative about me to them. I don't want to mention their names because I'll give them a problem with that kind of bullshit. You know, everybody's still, oh, you want to talk with a rat? You know, all that stupid shit. But anyway, you know, sometimes when you love somebody, you it's hard to stop loving them unless they betray you or they do something. But if they did nothing to you, it's hard to stop loving them. I heard that kid, what the fuck is his name, from Philadelphia, Joey Molino. His uncle was a cooperator, he said, and he got killed or whatever. And the daughter of the guy called him up and said, I want to bury him. He said, no, hey, throw him in the garbage. That's not Cosa Nostra. That's not what we do. She loves her dad. Let her bury him.
Yeah.
You have, if that's the way you live, you have no fucking concern for people. That's your family, that's your niece. She wants to bury her dad. That's what you tell her to do, throw her in the garbage. Oh, that's such a tough guy. But that's not us.
Yeah.
That's not the way we're supposed to survive and live. You know, I killed people, I saw the families, I try to help, I was devastated about it, and I would never tell them to disrespect their dad who died or was killed or for whatever the fucking reason was. I don't care what the reason is. That's his daughter.
Absolutely.
Or his wife. And she is not in part of the life. You tell her, go ahead, bury your dad. That's what you're supposed to do, I think.
Yeah.
In Cosa Nostra. So,
Wow.
here I go. I mention a few names, I'll start, and they'll be bed mounting me left and right. But go ahead, I don't give a fuck anyway.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Ryan Brown. Sammy, besides Angelo, did Gotti shelve anyone else?
And not the way he shelved Angelo. Angelo fucked up a hit on Gas Pipe. And he was part of it, John. He says he wasn't, but he was full of shit. He was part of it. The guy who they kidnapped said it, told everything, who did what and everything. And so he put him on the side. For a while, he told me he was going to kill him. And I said, John, he's got cancer and he's dying, bro. Everybody knows that you and him grew up. Don't kill him, bro. Let him die of cancer. And you don't have to, whatever. And he took my advice, he didn't kill him, and he didn't bother with him. When Angelo did die of cancer, we were going to go to the funeral. I went to see John, and he said, no, well, fuck him, I'm not going to the funeral. I said, John, it's over. He's dead. Everybody's going to be there, respect of you. They know he's your man. You grew up together. They're all going to be there, and me and you are not going to show. You know what we're going to look like, bro? He's dead. It's over. Go to the funeral. I'll come with you. Let's go to the funeral. Pay our respects to the family. And then we leave. It's over. So he did that. I went to the funeral with him that day. And I left early because my son got hit by a car. That same night I was at the funeral, and I went to him. I said, my son just got hit by a car. And I left the funeral and took off with Big Louie and my brother-in-law Eddie. And we went back, and I got my son out of a hospital in Staten Island, and I brought him to New York. I made arrangements in New York for doctors, big doctors, to take care of him.
Yeah.
He had busted his leg and stuff like that. Thank God that's all it was.
Amen. Yeah.
And then he came and visited my son, and so I mean, that goes in Austria. You can kill once you lose your humanity as a person. That's not Cosa Nostra anymore. That's, I don't know what that is. That's a Roy DeMeo. It becomes a serial killer and you don't give a fuck about nobody or nothing. Your own family. You know, we take a note that Cosa Nostra comes first. And there's one of the rules, if your son's in the hospital and the boss calls you, you come. They're just trying to show you how important the life is. But if you're in the hospital and your son is dying and you're staying, ain't no fucking boss or nobody in the world is going to tell you, leave him and come over here. That's bullshit. But they're trying to show you that this is above God, country, your family. But those things, I believed in God the whole time, and I think a lot of mafiosos believed in God. They may not have went to church all the time. Some people even went to church. We're not unhuman. And if Cosa Nostra made you unhuman, then as far as I'm concerned, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You still have to have feelings and love for people and things like that. I divorced my wife. We're still friends. And I would take care of her. She's not well till the day she dies. And we're divorced a very long time.
Yeah.
If you, I mean, what do you do? I don't give a fuck. I mean, I didn't have a horrible divorce. So you still have to be human with people. Right now, I get so many calls with people who have sick people in their family, and it breaks my heart when I hear it. I hope I never lose that. You know, going back to Paul and the Johnny Keys hit, at the end of what I says, I love him and all of that stuff, Paul, just before we got done talking, said, Sammy, remember, this was a commission hit, and I'm your boss, and I gave you the order. You did the right thing. But please don't change the way you are. He was happy that I answered those ways. He wasn't like, oh, this guy's a fucking jerk off, or he loved the guy, what the fuck? He didn't say that. He told me don't change. So there's a lot of people in Cosa Nostra who are people, good people. They live in a certain lifestyle. There's a lot of soldiers. We're soldiers in our own thing. There's a lot of soldiers who go to war and do things. Do they come back and become an animal because they've killed people in a war in another country for their government? I went in the military too. I would have killed for the military. Cosa Nostra was I was a soldier to Cosa Nostra. But anyway, don't let me get too tied up in that. Give me another question.
All right. James Birmingham. Sammy, I'm from Texas, and we have a huge problem here with wild hogs.
Yeah.
Those fucking hogs.
They are a pain in the ass. They're tough. I mean, there's no two ways about it, you know.
Ann A wants to know, Sammy, you know I love you, but I have to know, where can I get your shirt?
Where could you get my shirts? Let Anna spit that out, or Amina. Where does she get the shirts?
Ourthing.tv in the shop, guys, in the apparel section.
All right.
It goes up to 3X. Let us know if you need other sizes, guys. We see different sizes coming in, bigger than a 3X and smaller than a small. So we love everybody. Let's see here. Anthony, hey, Sammy, sending love from Buffalo. If Paul didn't get killed, do you think Atato would have stayed on his capo before he retired in '86?
I'm sure if he would have stayed on as a capo, yes. I believe he would have. He was Cosa Nostra to the T. That's against the rules of Cosa Nostra, and he didn't want no part of it no more. If this is what Cosa Nostra was becoming, that we killed bosses and people flipping like pancakes all over the place, and he just wanted he had enough. He was up in age and he just pulled away. He wanted to. You can't pull away, but you could ask permission, which he did. He did it the right way.
Polly C. Sammy, did you know anyone in the mob that spoke with a unique speech style like gonna get the papers guy?
The guy who talks twice?
Yeah.
It was in the movies. No, I don't. I don't know. What's his name? What was the guy in the movies? Vinny two
Yeah, yeah, 2 times. Yeah, because he said everything twice.
He said everything twice. No, I don't. I don't recall that. I mean, I even say something twice, but no, not that I remember.
Gilbert Goobies Castro. Sammy, I just crammed and binge watched basically The Sopranos. Question: Do the unknown organizations eat that good all the time?
Well, I think Italian people love to eat all the time. You know, I was in family functions. It wasn't Cosa Nostra. A meal, especially during the holidays, you would get the appetizer, the pasta, then the main course. Then they come out with fruit and vegetable and peanuts and all kinds of stuff, all kinds of nuts. What's the other ones that they bake it?
Which ones?
The ones where they put it in the oven and make them. All right, I forget.
Like a food, like a course?
Oh, the nut. You see,
Chestnuts.
Chestnuts.
Pinch poke, you owe me a Coke.
Yeah, chestnuts. So they make the chestnuts. Then they come out with wine and black coffee and stuff, and you sit there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, and eat and talk and celebrate and talk. Even an everyday meal was, 2 or 3 courses when my mother would cook. It was never just one thing. It was always 2, 3 courses. And we would eat the leftovers. We would eat the dog food. Anything that was left to eat, we would eat it. I mean...
All right, J. Marie Boss. My daughter lives in Park Slope, Brooklyn. Any stories about that neighborhood, or was it always an upper middle class area?
It wasn't always an upper middle class area, but it turned into that, and it was a good area. It was a lot of nice people. There was street guys even in that area. You know, New York was everywhere. Wherever you went, it was like they were every place. Long Island, when Long Island built up, Queens, Bronx, Brooklyn, Staten Island. When Staten Island opened up, there was a shitload of mob guys who moved there. Everybody wanted to move away from the city. It was crazy. It was only a couple of miles away over a bridge. And the cops, firemen, everybody seemed to do the same thing.
Oh, that's funny.
So, I mean, but the mob was everywhere. But Park Slope was a nice area, and they built it up when, part of it was falling apart. People bought it, built it up. It was a beautiful area.
Nice. Thank you, Sammy. Gas Can Lip back in the super chat. Sammy, what would Carlo Gambino do if he was alive and knew that the Wu-Tang Clan was using his Gambino last name in their lyrics and pseudonyms?
I don't think he would have done nothing. Wu-Tang was around, I think, when Carlo Gambino was alive.
No.
Huh?
I don't know.
They were.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
I remember my daughter or someone talked to me about the Wu-Tang group, and if I wanted to back it. It was the beginning of hip-hop and stuff like that. I didn't even understand it. I had said, no, I don't like that kind of music. I don't understand it. So I didn't want to invest in it or do anything. I wanted to kick my ass later on because their music blew up.
Yeah.
And now look at hip hop and all that stuff is huge. But
Yeah.
they were good. I just and so they were there for quite a long time. They disappeared for a while,
Yeah.
and then they came back again. I remember not too long ago. Matter of fact, when I got out of prison, this guy John I was working with, I wound up chasing this guy, but he had them, and they were making a comeback. So that was 2017. And I thought about jumping in, but I didn't like the guy John. He was a producer. I didn't want to be partners with the guy.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason I stepped away. If there was a good guy in front, I think I would have jumped in. I don't know how much they succeeded again. I don't think they got big,
Right.
but they got big. They were probably older and, whatever. But 2017, I had an opportunity a second time
So crazy.
around with the Wu-Tang. They're a good group.
Yeah. Okay. Last super chat for the day, guys. If we missed any, again, we always hit them at the top of the hour next Monday. So here it is. Ryan Brown. Sammy, did John try to steal a cement mixer as a teenager and it rolled over his foot, and that is what gave him his swagger walk?
I'm not sure what rolled over his foot, but something rolled over his foot, and I think he lost a toe, one of the toes, and another one was crushed. Even when I was in prison, we were in the same cell. I saw it. That's what gave him that walk. People thought it was a swagger walk. It was a limp, actually. One toe was missing completely, and one toe was crushed. And I mean, I didn't see it, but I know he would massage his foot all the time.
Interesting.
So yeah, he had problem with that foot, and that it wasn't a swagger. It was a limp, and it looked like a swagger. It looked like he was swaggering it up.
Was it the pinky toe?
I think it was the pinky toe. I think it was.
Wow.
And you lose your balance, your
That's
sense
right.
of balance with that. I never knew anything about that. Just, when he was telling me. I think it was a truck, but whatever it was, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that it did go over his foot, and it gave him that limp, which looked like a swagger.
Awesome. We have Francisco. Did you know Jimmy Fratiano? He said the mafia wanted to take out Castro in Cuba. Is that true?
The mob negotiated with the CIA about killing Castro. Jimmy Fabriano?
Fratiano?
Who?
Fratiano? What was that?
I'm not sure if I know him, but I do know the fact that they wanted the mob, the government, the CIA went to the mob. They went actually to Sam Giancana to take him out. And they were going to give him money. And Sam Giancana, I know from a fact from Tato, refused the money and told the mob, let's see if we can help the government to kill Castro. Because if we do that, then we're hooked up with the government in a positive way. They won't fuck with us, and they'll use us on occasion. Fuck the money. I want to hook them in. So, and he sent word up. But Castro was, he wasn't a fancy dude or nothing. He wore the military clothes, and he had a bunch of real tough guys around him all the time. He even had people who would eat his food because the CIA recommended trying to poison him. He had a gumada, Castro, a girlfriend, and they were going to grab the girlfriend to see if she would poison him. But the mob didn't want to have nothing to do with poisoning. They said we could maybe reach people and give them money to kill him. We can't get in there. They were out. They were thrown out. They didn't have they had some connections with some rough guys there, Cubans, but they couldn't get him. So I know there was a whole conversation about that. Now, that conversation went from there a little bit later on. It went right into the Kennedy assassination. It's a whole story about that I know that I'm really not going to discuss. But yeah, that's where it came from. Sam Giancana from the Chicago outfit. And it came up to Carlo Gambino and to other bosses. They discussed it. Sam Trafficante from Florida, the guy from Louisiana.
Masala?
Huh?
Carlos Masala?
Carlos Masala, yes. And they were all involved in conversation about it. And Carlo Gambino was in conversation with Tato. When I was younger and he was talking to me about these things, he told me about all of that. So I understood all of that stuff. Yeah. And that's how I got a lot of my information with Tato.
All right, guys, that was the last super chat. I'd let, not me. Sammy loves to stay on all day, but he does have meetings, very important meetings.
I do have some people coming down. Today's important. This whole week is important. I have some really big meetings. We're talking about the movie that I was talking about, the Keys movie. We're talking about my scripted show. We're making a lot of progress. And if you go out on YouTube and stuff, don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing is a good thing in a way. It doesn't give me any money, but what it does, it motivates these Hollywood people to say, the more subscribers I got, the more interest they have. And we're going to be going out and trying to sell it very shortly. And don't forget my my little, you know, what do you think about me and Trump? Trump being the president, he could be the president, and I could be the vice president.
Ourthing.tv, guys, head over to the shop.
Yeah, head over to the shop if you want them. We got them in. Do we have them in colors, or they're all the same thing?
They're all white, yeah, that
They're
version.
all white. There's no different colors. And one guy sent me a video. He's in India, and he's meeting with, I think it's the president of India, or is a high official in India. And a guy who's a big sports guy, a friend of mine, John, and he's wearing my T-shirt with me and Trump in India. And the Indian news over there is all taking pictures. Who's Sammy the Bull? He's running for vice president. So, I mean, I love the shirt. And the shirt is very comfortable. All right, guys, I'm gonna sign off. I do have appointments coming in, and this is gonna be a fairly big week for me. So I'm gonna give my normal sign off, especially to all my Hispanic friends. Adios, motherfuckers.